The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Pump up the volume on your parenting with Parent Pump Radio. Tune into something different that makes a difference. At Parent Pump Radio, instead of a ripple, we choose to create a splash. Get energized, get inspired, and get informed with how to parent in the new millennium. With your host and parent coach super guide, Jacqueline T.D. Huynh.
This is Jacqueline T.D. Huynh. Welcome to Parent Pump Radio. Our show is all about dynamic family leadership and leaving a profound legacy for our children. This year, we've added family financial freedom as a major topic. The first way I can help you create more financial freedom is through real estate investing. So get my book on Amazon called True Legacy Wealth, Creating Generational Wealth Through Real Estate Investing. Then let's get you started on making money while you sleep. Go to truelegacywealth.com and join our True Legacy Wealth turnkey real estate investing program. You'll get no more tenant late night phone calls or researching for the right property. Our team acquires, renovate, and manage for you. You just purchase and prosper. All our properties are between $75,000 to $150,000 and it will cash flow now. Sign up for a free membership and you'll get a 45-minute complimentary consultation. Go to truelegacywealth.com and be sure to say you heard it on Parent Pump Radio. Finally, your family wouldn't be successful if you didn't have leadership skills. Be sure to check out my first book on family leadership book. It's also on Amazon. The links are in the show notes, or you can just search my name on Amazon Books. Jacqueline Huynh, Huynh. Also, I'd love to come speak at your event or on your show, so please contact me at info@integrativeminds.com to schedule a meeting time. Our show is available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and syndicated on rethinkradio.org, oneideaaway.com, and Armed Radio. Today, we're going to focus on the family financial freedom part of our theme. And I have a wonderful friend and guest today. He is a real estate investor, entrepreneur, and successful business owner. He owns properties in 3 different markets, Illinois, Ohio, and Arkansas, and just recently closed on a 42 multi-family unit syndication in Tucson, Arizona. He is also the co-host of a weekly real estate podcast called Passive Income Through Multi-Family Real Estate, where he speaks with various experts in the real estate industry to help educate and create clarity for passive investors. And I was one of his guests on his show, so be sure to check me out there also, along with all of his other guests. Other thing that he's really successful at is running 2 meetups in Southern California. And the meetup also focuses on helping educate passive investors on multifamily and out-of-state apartment investing. One thing I love about Kyle is he's always about giving back because he donates 20% of his commission to the local charities of his client's choice. He's a big believer in positive mindset, continue education, improving yourself day by day, and taking massive action. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to my friend and colleague, Kyle Mitchell. Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Jacqueline. How are you?
I'm great. So almost done with bachelorhood, 2.5 weeks, you're going to be a married man.
That is correct. I'm really excited for it.
Awesome. I'm really excited for you and Lalita. You guys are the most amazing, cutest couple I've ever met.
Oh, thank you.
One of the things that in your bio that I wanted to kind of expand on is that you said the most important thing I've learned over the last 12 months is how important it is to spend and care for your family. Nothing is more important than family. What happened in the last 12 months that made you feel this way?
Well, I've always known that family is important, but, just being with Alita, getting engaged, we've been engaged for about 1.5 years now, and starting to do things together with our families combined has been something of a life changer for us. And so I'd never been in a relationship really where that had happened before. And so seeing that type of family bond and being around our families together, all in one, connected, was really impactful for me, and something that I just want to continue to do in our lives together. So I think that was it, is when we did our first family trip together, which is probably just about 12 months ago. And, spent the weekend. It just felt right, and it just felt like a family. And it's just something I want to continue and build upon.
Yeah, awesome. That's why I think I have my show too. It's focused on, why do we have a family? Because we all have a reason why or at least we should have. It's either by default or by plan. And I think, like with you, eventually you guys are going to have kids, and you want to leave something for them. And it's not just money. I mean, of course you want to leave them money, but there's something more profound about having that big family and staying together and sharing your thoughts and knowledge and values and beliefs.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think now, money is a piece of it for sure, and that allows you some financial freedom and time to spend with your family. But ultimately, you realize that a lot of the things that you want in life don't really matter when you have your family around you, and the time with your family members, just getting to know them better and spending time and building memories. I think that's what it's about.
Absolutely. Because one day you're going to pass, and you want to leave some sort of legacy, and where they're going to be talking about you, and hopefully it's a good legacy. So let's get into what you do, because not a lot of people understand what syndication means. Tell us what it is.
Yeah, so syndication is actually all around us. And, people getting on an airplane is a syndication. It's basically a group of people pooling their money for an end goal. So people all pay to get on an airplane to go to another destination. That's a syndication. So what we do is multifamily syndication, which is we purchase apartments that our focus is in the Arizona markets, and we pool money together to be able to purchase these larger apartments and share in the rewards of them. So we basically partner with passive investors who would like a return on their capital, and we manage the asset for them once we get the apartment under contract and closed.
We're going to get more into how people can invest, what it looks like, but what got you started in syndication?
Yeah, so I started investing in real estate back in 2013, and that was more on a smaller scale at that time. I had a full-time job, and I wanted to just create some passive income. And so I started buying some single-family homes. First, I started in my local market here in Southern California. Eventually went out of state just for many reasons, cash flow, landlord-tenant friendly states, or landlord-friendly states is what we look for, and California certainly is not that. No. So I started doing that, and quickly learned that, I couldn't scale, and really I wanted this to be something that I could scale and build long-term wealth with. And so I started looking around and found multifamily syndication. For me, when I found it, I fell in love with it and wanted to make it my full-time job, and no longer really a passive thing. I wanted to help other passive investors get to their destination and really build that generational wealth. And so after spending, a couple months researching it, I kind of dove right in. We started a meetup group in the Southern California area. And about 6 months after that, I left my job to pursue this full time.
And that's how actually I met Kyle, was through the meetup group. And we connected, and now we're on each other's show. What is the benefit in investing in multifamily syndication versus going off and doing it on your own? Yeah,
so I think it's because you can't really purchase larger apartment buildings by yourself, right? Eventually, everyone runs out of money. And buying turnkey or single family homes is a great way to invest and get passive income, certainly. But if you want to scale up or maybe diversify your portfolio and get into a different asset class, you're going to need the help of partners. And that's kind of where we come in. You can definitely leverage a group of people's money to buy larger assets that cash flow more. And, the reason why I like multifamily, that we'll get into a little bit later, but it's based off of a business metric. And so the higher you drive the NOI, the more the property is going to sell off of a multiple. Whereas single family homes is a little bit different. They're comped off of one of each other in the same neighborhoods. So that's the main reason. If you want truly passive income, real estate's a great vehicle, whether, again, that's single family home or multifamily. But you can partner with people in multifamily who run the property for you. and you don't have to manage a manager because that's our job. And we, basically send you checks on a quarterly basis, and you can sit back and relax and collect what we call that mailbox money.
Yeah. I wanted to reiterate what you were saying. There's no bad or good, like it's not good to invest in multifamily and bad to invest in single family home or vice versa. It's just about diversifying. And I think it's the most important thing we need to tell the listener is that it's about your goals, where you are, where you want to be. And maybe in the beginning, you start off with single family home, or in the beginning, you just maybe put in $20,000 to start a multifamily. But all of this requires a conversation with either you or I to really understand what that goal is for you and your family. But today, I want to make sure that people really understand the nitty-gritties about syndication. What are 3 things investors should consider before even investing in syndication?
Yeah, I think number 1 is to educate yourself, right? And you kind of hit on it. What are your goals? Which I'll get into in a second. But you need to educate yourself on, what the asset class is, the benefits of it, the risks of it. You need to know all those things before you just put your money into something. Yes, there could be a pro forma that someone sends out, and it's a great return and it looks good on paper, but just because it's on paper doesn't mean it's going to pencil out that way. So you want to have enough sophistication to be able to take a look at an investment summary and make a sophisticated decision whether or not that's a good investment or not. And without education, you just can't do that. Second, I would say make sure the investment aligns with your goals. And you mentioned that earlier, is just if it doesn't align with your goals, there's no reason for you to do it no matter what the returns are. You want to really lay out what your goals are, why you're doing it, and what your 5 or 10 year plan is going to be. And that's really going to decide what different asset classes maybe you go into, and what type of an investment that you go into. Every investment's different. You can have short-term investments that are less than a year. You can have long-term investments that are 10, 15, 20 years. And so really setting your goals first before you're actually looking for an investment. And then know and trust the sponsor. So whether that's me as a multifamily syndication sponsor, or you as a single family home provider, you want to know and trust that person and make sure that they're educated, savvy, sophisticated enough in order to make sure that your money is with the safe person.
Why did you choose to invest in multifamily versus single family homes?
Yeah, and I still invest in single family. I have my portfolio still that cash flows, and they're great right now. So there's no good or bad of it. It's just that, I wanted to get into something that I was actively doing. And with multifamily, that's something that I just felt that my background as a manager, before this, I was a regional manager for a golf management company where I managed 200 plus employees, 20 million plus in revenue. And so multifamily kind of fits what I'm looking for because it's based off of business metrics, right? And so it's about increasing revenues, controlling expenses, and getting a better bottom line so we can sell it for a multiple. With single family homes, it doesn't really work like that. And so that's why I just naturally attracted to multifamily, because my background for the last 15 years has been in business.
So that's why you got into actually managing and bringing partners together to buy multifamily units. What I'd like to do is kind of step into the investor's shoes. Tell us what your typical investor's goals are and why they chose to invest in multifamily, and then talk us through the steps on once they decide this is what they want to do, what does it look like specifically? How much do they have to put down? How long they have to wait? What do they have to go through?
Yeah, sure. So most of our investors, I would say, are just people who are working class people that have full-time jobs that just don't have enough time to really be an active investor. To be an active investor, you need to be able to fly to a market, if you're investing out of state, but even still, if you're investing in California, you need to be able to spend the time building relationships with brokers, lenders, property management companies. I mean, it takes a lot of work to be an active investor. And so a lot of our investors are just working class people, full-time jobs, and they're looking for some passive income to help build that wealth. You can invest in the stock market and the mutual funds, but right now, I think alternative investments are a great asset class to look into to start to build that wealth. You want to diversify, and you don't want to be in just one investment. And so that's kind of where multifamily comes in. It's definitely been hot. Everyone needs a place to live, which is why I like real estate in general, not just multifamily. And there's a huge shortage in the United States right now for rentals in a whole. So it's an asset class that I think is going to continue to thrive.
I think I read in articles, they say statistically, the millennials are waiting to buy a home, probably because of rising student loans, but many other things. They're just waiting to start a family. I mean, how old are you?
Oh, I'm 37.
And you're just getting married, whereas our grandparents were getting married like at 18 outside of high school. It's pushing off that buying of homes, so they need to rent. And so I think it's a great way for investors to really know that their properties are not going to be vacant. Now, tell us the steps. Someone says, okay, I want to invest with you, and what do they need to know?
Yeah, I won't get too much into the weeds, but basically what we do is a 506B offering, which is it's under the securities law and it's an exemption under the securities law. And basically under the 506B, we need to have a pre-existing relationship with our investors. And so the best way to do that is to reach out and ask questions, and we can meet for lunch or coffee or have several phone conversations. But we need to know you from a personal standpoint to make sure that your goals align with our goals, number one. And then also from a financial standpoint to make sure that you're savvy, that you're sophisticated enough to be investing, and that you understand and are okay with what our risks are and also our rewards. So we definitely have to know you from a financial standpoint to make sure that you can bear the risk of investing in general, right? Every investment comes with its risk. And what we don't want is to take on someone that maybe just got an inheritance of $50,000 and they want to spend their last $50,000 in an investment. It's just that's not the right person. Their goals don't align with what we're trying to do. So we want to make sure it's a good fit on both sides, make sure it's a win-win, and we build that relationship over several months, making sure that we're both on the same page. And then from there, what we'll do is we'll add you to our email list. We'll start sending you some emails just about our company and to educate you on multifamily. And then when we do have a property that's under contract, we'll start to send you some information on what that investment looks like. And from there, you can decide whether or not it fits your goals and invest with us.
Usually, what's the price range for at least your properties that people invest in?
So a minimum investment, it really depends on the size of the property, but I would say an average investment is about $50,000 on the minimum side and all the way up to several hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Okay, so we're talking the bottom line is $50,000. And then depending on how much you put in, obviously, is what your percentage return, right?
Exactly. Our projections are based off a percentage return. So if it's, let's just say, an 8% return or 10% return, you put in $100,000, you can expect about $8,000 to $10,000 back on a yearly basis. We pay out on a quarterly basis, and we also pay out at the end when we sell the property. So it's basically you're purchasing shares in the LLC that owns the property, and you get dividends on a quarterly basis, and then also sharing the profits on the back end.
So explain to people who don't understand syndication too, or are new to it. Say I put $100,000 in, like that example, but then maybe a year later I want to back out for whatever reason. Is that possible? How is it done if it is?
Every deal or every syndication is a little bit different. It depends on the sponsor or the lead sponsor, which I am, on how they structure their investment. And basically we hire attorneys to make sure there's something called a PPM, a private placement memorandum, that all investors will need to read. And it lays out the structure of the investment and also all the risks. And it really depends on how that's created. Now, what we tell people is you should invest knowing that this is not a liquid investment, meaning you can't just cash out at any time. There are ways to cash out. However, they're not as simple as saying, okay, I want to get out, please return my capital, and that's it. It takes voting. It takes someone that's going to take over those shares and purchase those shares from you. And so I would just say that if you're planning on investing, make sure it's with the funds that you don't need immediately. Like I said earlier, we don't want to take an investment of someone's last dollar because they're going to need that back. That's just not a sound decision. So we want to make sure goals align and all that kind of stuff. And all that is upfront in the PPM documents that you can read. And if you decide not to go with the investment, that's not a problem. And that's what we're here for, is to answer any questions that you have along the way. But I would just say that most of these are not liquid investments.
Yes, that's a big thing I think that people need to understand, because you are coming in together with a big group of people. So it's not like a single family home that you bought as an investor. You make your decision and it's much easier. So those are what we talked about. Everybody is custom, and you do have to get to know your clients or potential clients, or see if they're a right fit for where their lifestyle is.
So we're about win-win, right? We're not here just to, make our money. We want to build generational wealth for all of our clients. And that's the number one goal, is to add value back into our clients and our residents who live in these properties' lives. And then we come kind of on the back end. We're last on that train for sure. Our interests and values and goals don't align, then no problem. Our investment isn't for you. And we can help you find another investment with someone else that, maybe your goals do align as well. We're just here to help our clients as much as possible.
And I think that's why you and I do see eye to eye, because not only do we love the Tony Robbins, I mean, I know you recently just went to it, we think in that way where it's about that leadership and how we can align together, and family is the most important thing. And how do we leave that? And this is just really a tool of what our goal is.
Absolutely. It's a vehicle. And kind of on the Tony Robbins thing, the next bucket list item is Date with Destiny. So I have that on my list, and that's
really
for the next 12 months. Yeah.
When's
it's
the next
always
one?
Been on my bucket list. I think it's in December. So we'll see if we can make that one. But I really want to take Lolita, my fiance, on that trip. And I think it'll be
maybe that will be your honeymoon.
Yeah, that could be. I think it would be a fantastic one.
Yeah, I was following you on Facebook when you guys are, there this past one. So it's so cool. So you also have a resource guide. Can you tell us more about that so the listeners can understand what they're getting?
Yeah, it's a resource guide for passive investors to help educate passive investors who may be interested in what we do. You can just sign up for our newsletter on our website, and we'll send this to you for free. And it's about a 30 to 40 page document that lays out what syndication is, what you should be looking for as a passive investor before you start to get in these types of investments. And it basically, it's a step-by-step guide on the process you need to take prior to investing in a multifamily syndication so that you're educated and prepared and know what to look for.
Tell us what the website is.
Yep, it's www.limitless-estates.com.
And that's estates with an S. Where else can people find out more about syndications?
I think From Our Website does a pretty good job. There are other websites out there. If anyone's ever heard of a website called Bigger Pockets, it's basically like the Facebook community for real estate investors. And you can find out different various things on that website as well, from single family homes to, liens to multifamily. And so you can post on that. But I think our website does a great job of laying out what a syndication is and that passive investor's guide. Or they can reach out to me and ask us any questions. Alita and I do free 30-minute consultations for anyone that wants to learn more about what we do. We're happy to talk about anything in real estate or just kind of where you're going in life. And if we can help point you in the right direction, we'd be happy to.
Yeah, and tell us about your meetup group, because it's a pretty successful one.
That is another one that where you can do that. So we do have two meetup groups, the smaller ones, a Cerritos roundtable, where we just have a group of probably 10 people that go around the table and talk about what they're going through, challenges, successes, opportunities. So that's one that we focus on. And then the other one right now is the out-of-state apartment investors group that is in Long Beach here. We're one of 8 chapters, and we're currently going through a rebranding and expansion. We're going to start expanding nationwide here shortly. So there's a lot of exciting things going on with that one. We're changing that. We're focused on multifamily investing as a whole, whether that's in California or out of California. And we just try and help people get educated before they start investing in these types of things, because it is a lot of money that you're investing. There's definitely huge upside and great chance for building generational wealth, but you want to be educated before you get in there. And we try and help people do that. We also run a yearly event through that meetup as well.
And what's the meetup called?
Right now, it's out-of-state apartment investing. You can find that on meetup.com, or you can go to our website. We also have that posted on our website. Pretty soon, we'll be rebranding. I don't want to say the name yet because it hasn't been finalized. If you go to any of those links, it'll link to the new branding once we launch that. Yep.
And when do you meet?
We meet once a month on the second Tuesday of every month in Long Beach at Recreation Park Golf Course if you're local. But as I mentioned, we do have 8 chapters. So if you're not local to this area, we're hoping to open a few in Northern California, San Diego, even on the East Coast. And then we have 8 other chapters throughout Orange County and LA.
And then you also have a great podcast. I sort of mentioned it in the introduction, but tell us a little just more about it and how people can find it.
So we just launched in March, it's been a great success. We did 31 straight days in March, and now we're a once a week podcast, and it's called Passive Income Through Multifamily Real Estate. And we interview everyone from a passive investor to get their standpoint of how they went about being a passive investor and making sure, people get educated on that side, to on the other side, active investors, so you can hear it from them as well. So it's been great so far, and we would love to have more listeners on that show. So definitely check it out.
Kyle's email is kmitchell, Mitchell, at limitlessestates.com. Phone number is 562-833-5010.
Awesome. I would love to talk to anyone. We are obsessed with real estate as a whole and just helping people. So we would love to just talk to you. Yeah, I love talking shop. So please give me a call or reach out.
If you're in the LA, Long Beach area, or one of the other 6 areas in the Southern California location on their meetup, be sure to check them out. Go and introduce yourself. Tell them you heard it here on Parent Pump Radio. They are such a great group. I think Manhattan Beach have about 50 plus people that show up once a month, right?
Any of our meetups probably have 30 to 60 people show up on a monthly basis, and we have them spread out so they're not the same day. And, I would encourage people to go to multiple. We don't follow one structure, so you definitely get value from going to different meetups, and we talk about different subjects. Now, it's all the way from, like I said, Orange County, all the way up to West LA, downtown LA, Manhattan Beach, Marina Del Rey now, Pasadena, and we even have one in Ventura County. So we're starting to scale and grow rapidly here, and I'm excited for that because we just can add more and more value to more people.
Awesome. Okay, so do you have a quote of the day to give us?
Yes, my quote of the day is action cures fear. So I'm all about taking action. Every year, Lolita and I try and do 3 things that take us out of our comfort zone, and that's by taking action. And so, it's definitely scary doing things that are new, but as you take that action, once you do it once, it starts to become more and more familiar, and it becomes easier and easier to do.
Okay, thank you so much, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Okay, listeners, until next week, always be learning and always be growing.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Go to parentpumpradio.com and click on the pink box on the top of our homepage to listen to our new and archived shows. To be instantly notified of new episodes, subscribe to our RSS feed. The RSS feed button is located at the top of the page where all our shows are featured. And after listening to the show, go to parentpumpradio.com or our Facebook page to leave your comments, questions, and topic suggestions. Until next time, have a wonderful week.